What is up, Planeswalkers? Theric6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Be sure to head over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a good deal, helps support the channel. Now today, we are playing a quite often requested deck, but one that I think unfortunately is not very well suited to the meta right now. And I will get into that a little bit more, but mono red, even when we have 4 Revitalizes, 2 Lava Coils, and 5 total board wipes, well, technically 9 because of Star of Extinction, but they just run you over real fast. Skewer the critics and light up the stage are real fast, so it's kind of difficult to beat them. It's fine against several other mid-range and control decks, and that is because what I've done here is I've looked at what decks I've played in the past that utilize Star of Extinction already, and I found that the white-red prison deck already had some cards, a lot of cards actually, that I was looking forward to playing anyway. Namely, these were the early game artifacts, as well as the fact that since aggro decks are so prevalent, Deafening Clarion was definitely going to be in there. And I wanted, since this already destroys a land, I wanted to have maybe a different way of combating control, and I found that the white-red prison deck had Haphazard Bombardment and the Immortal Sun. So that is why this deck looks the way it does. But this is possibly going to be a long deck, so I should just jump into it. We're playing 4 Revitalizes. This card functionally makes our deck smaller. It functionally makes it a 56-card deck, gains us some life. Holy crap. Which is very important, as I said, since this is a pretty aggressive meta, even in unranked for some reason. But yeah, it just cycles itself, which is very helpful. We are running 3 Thaumatic Compasses because it's a little less important to get each individual land than it is to just get to 7. And Thaumatic Compass helps us get to 7, which is very helpful because once it gets there, you can start stemming the tide against some larger mid-range threats. 4 treasure map, because this being a essentially combo deck, we want to make sure we get to our combo, and being able to scry 3 times and then draw 3 cards, or just have access to extra mana so you can do the combo at once, is very helpful at meeting those goals, at getting to your combo pieces, at ramping yourself up to an extent, and just fixing your draws in general. We, of course, are running a little bit of targeted removal, so we have 2 Lava Coils, and this was a recent add because of just the sheer amount of destruction that I was befalling against mono red. So this is kind of against that, but it's good tech against Drakes, decent tech against the Explore package, as long as you can get it off soon. Of course, 3 Ixalan's Binding, because control typically doesn't run as many creatures, and the creatures they do, like Niv Mizzet, are things that you don't really want to be casting spells on. So Ixalan's Binding, very helpful against Niv, very helpful against Planeswalkers, and it's the only main deck way to deal with a Wilderness Reclamation. So you want to have that against those Temur and Bant and Sultai decks. We're running 4 Deafening Clarions because we need to sweep the board, and we need to sweep the board early. So Deafening Clarion's what it's used for. Cleansing Nova is kind of a supplemental board wipe. I wanted something in between 3 and 7, and Cleansing Nova helps being able to destroy all of the creatures, and for what it's worth, you also get the added bonus of destroying artifacts and enchantments, but since we do play a number of artifacts and enchantments, it really is board dependent on if you're going to use that. Your opponent has to have a large number of important artifacts and enchantments in order for this to really be worthwhile. Because Haphazard Bombardment is anything that is an enchantment. Luckily, this is a pseudo board wipe in that you can target your opponent's creatures, and there's, if you only target the creatures, it's going to lay off a little bit of pressure over the course of a few turns. But you can snipe your opponent's important lands like Escanta. It deals with the flipped Hadana's Climb, which is a little popular in unranked. And you can just cut them off of colored mana. If they only have a certain amount of black available or something like that, then you can go and target their black sources and then a creature they have or something. And Bombardment is very helpful. Additionally, it is a nice way to win against control if you are able to cast it with your opponent's shields down. Because, you're going to be able to hit their win conditions. This doesn't trigger Niv, right? So you can go and hit those. You can hit their Planeswalkers. You can hit any large artifact that they may be playing, and most importantly, you can hit those Escantas, those Arch of Orazcas, things like that. And it's just really helpful for just taking your opponent off of a large number of resources with a single card. The Immortal Sun is great. It allows us to draw extra cards. We're not running any Planeswalkers in the main deck. and it does make our combo a little bit cheaper in that it makes it only 10 mana instead of 11. It makes, for what it's worth, it makes Truefire Captain larger, but that doesn't really matter. But the main purpose of Immortal Sun is it hurts Planeswalkers, which are typically going to be in those mid-ranging control decks, and it draws you additional cards to get to your actual threats. We are running 2 Electrodominance instead of the 2 or 3 Banefires, because since we are a combo, we want to make sure we have an interesting way of getting our combo out, and I found Electrodominance is actually incredibly helpful. For what it's worth, it does make our deck slightly less good against control, but I did need some cuts, and I did tailor it a lot more towards aggressive strategies, because those are more common in unranked than I've found control decks are. But what's really nice about Electrodominance is the fact that it's an instant. So what you can do is, if you have 6 mana, and you have a land in hand, or you know for otherwise that you're going to be playing a land next turn, maybe you scry it at some point, then you can Electrodominance at the end of your opponent's turn for 6, and if they counter it, right, then you're going to be able to, still have your Truefire Captain in hand, whereas they could have potentially countered that. And if they don't counter it, then they either don't have a counterspell or are really good at this game. And then you can put out Truefire Captain at the end of your opponent's turn, untap, and immediately cast Star of Extinction. And I found that's very helpful, because now your Truefire Captain doesn't have to survive for an entire turn. And often you're going to be able to get this under your opponent's kill spells. Maybe they put their shields down. They're not expecting creatures from us, since we are otherwise a pretty much land destruction deck. So it's a very nice thing to do. And additionally, you can play it for 2 and get any of these cards, and we have a large number of them. So being able to have this as, 2 removal spells, right? You Electrodominance a Llanowar Elf or something for 2, and then you Lava Coil, one of the Explorer creatures. That's very helpful. You can do this and then get out a Revitalize. You can do this and get out, a treasure map, and then on upkeep from that, you're going to be able to scry. It's a very helpful card in the deck. It is a little mana intensive, but usually we're okay on that, even though we are only running about 25 lands, or 24 lands. I did look for the most desolate looking lands to match this, but 2 Arch of Orazca, very helpful in the super long game. We're going to be able to get the City's Blessing very easily, and against control, this helps us grind. The actual color sources are really obvious. And then 2 Zhalfirin Voids, because you want, as I said, to be able to get to your important cards as fast as you can, and Zhalfirin Void helps with the scry. I did have a couple of Field of Ruins, but I just found that it made my actual color sources of mana a little bit too scarce, so I decided to keep Zhalfirin Void, since we have already cut a decent amount of the land destruction elements out of the deck. So, over to the sideboard where I'll quickly talk about some of the other cards I was considering. So, Integrity, Intervention. Integrity, not really important, but I found that the Intervention was maybe helpful against aggro, in that it can, deal 3 damage to one of their creatures, and you gain some life, which is helpful. But I just found that it was a little bit too slow in this deck. Fountain of Renewal, I thought was a very helpful card, but Revitalize is just better because it does cycle through a little bit easier, right? With Wrap Fountain, you can get more life out of it and still have the card draw. But it's over the course of several turns. The card draw, if you want to actually gain equivalent amount of life, has to happen later, and it does take up 3 mana. So, Fountain of Renewal, I just wasn't able to squeeze in, but I do like it in the style of deck. Dawn of Hope, since we did cut a lot of the prison elements, like the Crucible, in order to get back a bunch of land destruction lands, I found that having Dawn of Hope as an alternate win condition wasn't as good, and since we aren't running an actual large amount of life gain, the life gain aspect of it just didn't come into play. Seal Away was a relatively weak card. I just found that I was getting overrun by red decks, not necessarily because they were attacking with a bunch of creatures, but I was just getting burned out. So I traded Seal Away for Lava Coil, which can technically do a little bit better against some of the other decks. Although Seal Away admittedly does do better against different decks, but I found Lava Coil a little bit better. Lightning Strike, you don't need the reach. In this deck, you very much are definitely going to win, or you are definitely going to lose. Justice Strike is nice, but I didn't want to play this over Lava Coil when sometimes Justice Strike won't be able to kill the Drakes. Sometimes it won't be able to kill the Wild Growth Walkers and things like that. So I just found Justice Strike a little bit too narrow in use. Power Stone Shard. This was... So another deck I was thinking about putting this in was my mono-red Artifacts deck. But, so I mean, there's a lot of ramp in there, which is helpful. But I just found that the contingent pieces weren't necessarily as good. But you can definitely try and make a more artifact-based ramp deck that's a little lighter on the control elements and a lot more focused on just ramping out your late-game cards like Star of Extinction and just having in Truefire Captain. So, Star of the Wreckage, I found that, again, against Burn, this is just not nearly as helpful. Cleansing Nova has a wider utility, and Deafening Clarion comes down a single turn earlier, which definitely is important. So, Star of the Wreckage I just found was not great. Rekindling Phoenix, I actually have a couple of things in here that are like potential other threats. Rekindling Phoenix, if you want to go more of a mid-range style, I think Rekindling Phoenix is probably the best option you have. It blocks really easily because then they have to 2-for-1 themselves or something. It doesn't truly die to Deafening Clarion or Cleansing Nova, nor to Star of Extinction. It is a relatively cheap threat. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, a lot of people are running Lava Coils right now, so it's not as good, but it's a nice threat. Karn is good, but we would prefer to have the Immortal Sun, because Karn, since we aren't running a large number of creatures alongside Karn, he can't protect himself very easily. You can make their Karn Structs, but that puts him to 3, which is in Lightning Strike range, and he would likely just die. Angel of Grace is one of the cards I thought of including. It is nice that it can save you from death, but you have to find a way to get her into your graveyard to use her extra ability. So I just found that she was a little too slow. Lyra, very helpful, gains a bunch of life. If you want to make the deck a little bit more mid-rangey and not as control, you can, remove a little bit of your removal, add in like 3 Lyras, and then your game against aggro might be a little bit better. Inescapable Blaze, if you want to just burn your opponents, you can build a build of this that has, Lightning Strike, Skewer the Critics, Inescapable Blaze, Banefires, all of those sorts of things, and run the Truefire Captain, Star of Extinction list as supplements. But I think that that version of the deck would still be a little bit too slow compared to the mono red deck. Zetalpa's fun, all right? I really, really tried hard to fit Zetalpa into this deck, but I just couldn't justify a slot. I'd only probably run a single 1 or 2, but Zetalpa has Indestructible, so it doesn't die to your stuff. And it, has Double Strike and Vigilance and Trample. I would prefer it have Lifelink instead of one of these, but I mean, they're all so good that I don't know which I would prefer. But Zetalpa, unfortunately, couldn't make it, and I did talk about Banefire just a little bit. It was helpful against control, but I wanted to try it on something else. Ugh, that was a bit of a long one. I do apologize for that. Hopefully. I mean, I've been posting like the match timestamps in the actual comment section, and people have seemed to enjoy that, so I'm probably going to continue to do it. It doesn't actually take me much time. I do get to it a little late sometimes because of the fact that I don't wake up at 9, pretty much. I am not a morning person, like, at all. This hand is pretty poor, because we only have 2 lands. I'm running 24 lands, which is, decent. I maybe should be running 25, but 24 was the amount that I've had. Otherwise, this hand's fine. I think I will drop that. But a lot of my opening hands have been 2 lands for some reason, which is kind of strange. But, alright, so we have double... Oh, no, we don't have double dominance. Nope, I need white mana. The treasure map is nice to have because it does give me something to do. But let's see what our opponent is on. Mono red, yay. Yeah. Oh, yes. This does slow me down a little bit, but I will be able to treasure map into using it next turn, so it's not too bad. But we definitely don't want them to scale with Runaway Steamkin. And I mean, that's exactly why I put that into the deck. Can I get a white source? I'll still probably play and use treasure map. Light up the stage. Or I could play and use Thaumatic Compass. I think I think Treasure Map's a little bit better. Yeah, I think Treasure Map's a little bit better. It's weird that they tap it like that, but I didn't actually mind. Nope, Ixalan's Binding is not helpful. So theoretically, no, yeah, I think this is better. It's a little bit more mana efficient. I do have access to Electrodominance into something as soon as I get a second red source, so I could theoretically even Dominance into Revitalize. I would love Plains into... Alright, so that's not too bad. I'd love Plains into Clarion. I'm gonna go ahead and Treasure Map. Nope. Draw? Plains. Fantastic. So the question is, do I Revitalize or do I Thaumatic Compass? I think I would prefer to Revitalize. These decks are so bursty that I want to make sure I live. And since we're gonna have the treasure tokens and the land from this next turn, then I could even do something like Haphazard Bombardment. But Electrodominance into Thaumatic Compass is also decent because we can kill their Chain Whirler and, you know, get this on the board. So for what it's worth, Electrodominance is X or less, so you don't have to do the exact cost. Skewer the critics. Yep. Ow. Gonna go ahead and do this first. I mean, my opponent could, I mean, we'll go to 13, then we go down to 8. Could I die from that? Yeah, if my opponent has 3 damage burn spells that they can cast, I could just die. That is unfortunate. I can't easily take that damage. I'm gonna decline. Kind of just hope that they drew 2 lands. Nope. Don't want that. Right, main phase. Mountain. I can do X equals 5. Darn. I did kind of want to be able to Haphazard Bombardment now, but I think the correct thing to do is just Dominance for 3 and kill the Chain Whirler. I could kill the Pyromancer because they could have Wizard's Lightnings, but I mean, as I said, this matchup is kind of rough just because of the spells, right? Light up the stage, skewer the critics, even Risk Factor. It just gives them so much reach that even if you deal with their creatures, you're still going to be in a rough spot. So we don't have as much objective life game. Yeah, I'm probably just dead out of hand. All right, it looks like they're going to attack. So, I mean, I still died to a 3 mana burn spell. Or 3 damage burn spell. But if I had something like a lightning strike, yep, I'm dead. Hopefully it's not all mono red. You know, I faced Sultai and I beat that. I faced Bant and I beat that. Was it Bant or was it Naya? I think it was Naya, like, I guess +1/+1 counters. They ran Growth Spiral Guardian. They ran the Hasty card. They ran Night of Autumn. So my assumption is that's kind of what it was. But, I mean, I beat them fine. I beat Sultai fine. This deck really works pretty well against mid-range. Come on. Man, that's weird. Oh, good game. Rex. Is this the Rex? We have the access to a treasure map. I mean, this is what I mean. Like, I constantly just get two landers. I don't know why. And in many of my other 24 land decks, I get 3 lands consistently in my opening hand. Heck, even my 23 land decks, I get 3 lands consistently. Kinda nonsense. Yeah, I think I have to mulligan that. Oh, fudge off. I hate you. Well, I'm gonna play Truefire Captain on 4 and hope it works out. Man, that's disappointing. 2-lander into 1 land, 1 land. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's mono red again. Okay. Maybe it's not. I was a little bit hasty with my judgment. For what it's worth, I looked really hard for Truefire Captain art. Didn't find any high-res art. Oh, red-green. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, and I got a Deafening Clarion at least. Problem is, I feel as if I need to play Truefire Captain out. What are you buying? Elvish Driven there. All right. So this is probably going to be like a mid-range style deck. So even though we mulliganed to hell, we should be okay. Okay, treasure map, or Thaumatic Compass, very helpful. I would prefer treasure map, but this is really helpful for, you know, thinning our deck of lands by a little bit. Nice at, you know, kind of putting in a stop to one specific threat. As long as it's not Carnage Tyrant. I assume this deck does have Carnage Tyrant, but not much I can do about it. Except for, you know, get Cleansing Nova or Star of Extinction. Just hoping. Sunder Shaman. Okay. Well. He just gets to destroy my compass. Awesome. So I could just play Truefire Captain in order to just block to hold Compass for a turn, but I mean that doesn't really make too much sense. Yeah, I think I just have to kind of take the loss on that. Damn. These are definitely one of those videos where I kind of want to redo it, but I'm doing this later than usual because I went out to eat. And I just legit don't have the time. Curses. I'll go down to 11. I kind of just need a Cleansing Nova. Yeah. I'll go ahead and grab another Plains, I guess. So yeah, I kind of just need my Cleansing Nova. A star doesn't help yet. If I have to, I can just play Truefire Captain. If they deploy another threat, I kind of have to play the Truefire Captain out. Okay, they didn't. Haphazard Bombardment is potentially good if I kill the Sunder Shaman. I'm probably super dead, but I'm gonna try. As I said, I think that this deck, unfortunately, is not in the best position in the meta right now. Especially because it's super polarized. The majority of games I've played against, I'm going to choose Sunder Shaman and then just like all of their... Do I want to do green mana or red mana? I would rather do green mana. But I kind of need to hit this 25% on the Sunder Shaman, unfortunately. But yeah, it's so polarized, so it's so tilted towards heavy aggro versus heavy control. I think this deck thrives against more mid-range decks. Cough cough when I don't mulligan to 4. So it's unfortunate, but you know, unfortunately not all decks can do well. Shock me, yep. Yes, I got the 25%. I try not to rely on you know, RNG, but that was kind of necessary in order for me to continue in this game and have a chance of winning. That Sunder Shaman not only deals 5 damage, but it blows up a lot of my like win cons and stuff. So that was helpful. Hopefully my opponent deploys some non-large threats so I can just sweep things up with Clarion. Alright, that's a small threat. Play another one. Don't kill my Haphazard Bombardment, you monster. That's all I have. That's all I have. Just play another small-ish threat so I can kill it. That's what we all want. Yeah, sure, do that before playing another threat. I hate you. Okay, Zhalfirin Void. Immortal Sun is helpful for drawing some more cards. We're going to go ahead and Clarion this. It's not the best board to Clarion on, but I would rather destroy any pressure since I'm at 8. I could play out the Truefire Captain. I really want to do the combo, but I feel like getting out the Captain is going to be more helpful than not, because red does have access to haste. But luckily, I am slowly dwindling down their lands. Yeah, it looks like Captain's probably going to die, or they're just reading it. That horse is smug as fuck. Leave my cards alone so that I can murder you. If I win on a Muldrotha 4, it's very helpful. It's good for my emotional state. Oh yes, they did nothing. They did nothing. I am absolutely not attacking. Not yet, anyway. I'll maybe attack next turn, depending on what I get from Immortal Sun. What I want to see is a top-decked Star of Extinction, so we can just destroy our opponent with the combo. I need to get the combo off, man. It's already 30 minutes in this video. People don't like long videos. Is this actually the Rex? Is this the Rex? Well, I didn't draw anything great, so I'm gonna pass turn. If this is like Rex, then I think he knows what I'm trying to do, and he might be like being nice and letting me do it. Which, if this is the case, I appreciate the hell out of you. If not, and my opponent's still sticking around, I appreciate the hell out of you, because you are helping my video. Oh man, that Muldrotha 4 was crippling though. Okay, another Captain. I guess I'll attack now. Now that I have an additional Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. You take 1, though. Boop. Oh no, we're not going to get the perfect 20. That's fine. Okay, end turn. For what it's worth, if I get a hit in with both of these, and then I hit in with 1. Okay, Sunder Shaman, sure. Give me a star. Damn. Now we're going to go and binding that because I don't want to see the Sunder Shaman anymore. I'm just going to win with Truefire Captain? That's lame. No! I was going to attack with one so I can Lava Coil it to at least get that. Darn, darn, darn. I don't have time to fish for the combo. For what it's worth, I could legitimately go to my Discord server, type in Fiora, like, hey, I'm recording now. Who wants to help me make this combo work? I could do that, but it doesn't feel right. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're fine with, like, for, like, super combo-oriented decks, if you're fine with me not necessarily playing against an opponent who's definitely going to go easy on me, but someone else who's playing super jank, who, you know, has a slow combo of their own. Let me know if that's fine. Once again, 2-land opener. I don't understand it. I mean, we're on the draw. We have Deafening Clarion and Thaumatic Compass. I'll keep this. I'm so sick of mulligan. Stop! Oh, fudge. Okay, that's helpful. Unfortunately, I think this is the red, like, mono red Phoenix deck. It could be like normal, like, Drakes. Okay, it's normal Drakes. Which kind of means that Deafening Clarion is not as good, unfortunately. Yeah. So unless they, like, play the Goblin Dork. Okay, Terramander, I can kill that. 2 Terramanders, I can kill that. Don't mind if I do. Okay, the Cleansing Nova's helpful. All right. We capped a 2-lander, drew 2 lands. I am glad about that. We were able to 2 for 1 my opponent, which is nice. Yeah, all right. I could Truefire Captain next turn to put on pressure. Is my opponent looking for a land? Okay, no, they kept both on top. Or, I guess they both could have been lands. Another Terramander, alright. Ooh, treasure map. Do I want to Compass or treasure map? I can't do both. I think I would... Oh, they are stuck on lands. I think I would rather... This is only on 2. I think I would rather Compass. I should have done it. Like, on their turn, of course. I'm just dumb and I forgot. Okay. Even if they have removed for one of our Truefire Captains, we do have a backup, so... We're in a decent spot. Chart of course. Cool, cool. Crash through. Sure, sure. Alright, they're still off on lands. So now I can treasure map and Compass at the same time. And we have plenty of backup captains. So I will go ahead and just pass the turn to my opponent. Yeah, it's unfortunate my opponent is stuck on lands. It's possible even that they kept a 3-lander and just haven't drawn any lands. But, I mean, with that many card draw spells, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, another chart, of course. They've drawn so many cards. I have no idea how many cards these deck runs because I don't like playing them. But I assume it's not that few. Alright, there we go. And I will Compass. I will grab another Plains. I want to treasure map, but I think I would rather have Immortal Sun. We're not under enough pressure for me to want to give up the ability to have Immortal Sun out this early. Right, against Red, they could have freaking Spell Pierce. Okay, they didn't. Against Red, in the previous meta, they had a really good response to it with a Braid. But right now, Red doesn't have any main deck answers to artifacts, and Blue definitely doesn't. So we're in a decent-ish position. We can play out our Sacred Foundry, and ooh, I should do this. And our Thaumatic Compass will flip, which is helpful. I kind of want to save the Cleansing Nova for a turn where they have Niv. How many of these do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this costs 2 to adapt. Crash through, sure. That now costs 1 to adapt. Oh, right, I forgot this makes my stuff cheaper. I will treasure map. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, bud. We're doing it. Oh, yes. Fudge, a part of me wants to just play out the Truefire Captain now. Oh. I don't think I can. I think I have to Nova this board. Wait, I can actually star this board. No, star still gets rid of Niv, so I think I'm fine Novaing this board. A little bit more life efficient. Cool, cool. So we have Spires, so we can deal with hasty threats, like if they... I mean, this is the version... I assume if they're running these, they're running Maximize Velocity as well. But I have a response to that. Sure. Have fun. I can blow up your lands. Trigger map. Oh! Oh, yes. Oh, this is happening. Guys. Look at this hand right now. Before I draw another card. Look at this hand. You know, I'm going to go ahead and pair them up. There we go. So play this. How much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough. Not nearly enough. But why would you ever tap like that? You stupid game. I need one more. Star. Blow this up. Kill your board. This was essentially a 3 for 2. We were able to destroy 3 of the things, but Crackling Drake did draw itself a card. I do need to do this. I think I next turn can just play out both, right? So this will turn into a tap land. But I'll have 3 things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes! Alright. They're tapped out! They're tapped out! Oh! I mean, I could even Electrodominance, but we're not doing it. We are going to get the combo off. Hell to the yes. Oh, yes. Main phase. Mountain. Truefire Captain. Star of Extinction, baby! Yes! We did it! We kept a 2-land hand and we did it! Oh, I'm so satisfied. Oh, you foolish Drake deck. I mean, that's the type of thing. If we're able to answer our opponent's board in the early game, answer it in the mid game, and have access to a flipped Thaumatic Compass, where we're going to be able to, even if we weren't able to answer a single Drake, we're going to be able to stem the tide of that Drake actually killing us, giving us plenty of time to get the amount of mana and the amount of card density that we need to just blow things up. I'm so glad I got to do this. Oh, man. All right. I don't know if I have all of the Guilds of Ravnica rares, so let's buy a Guild of Ravnica pack. No, cool.
Always nice to get out of the lab.
Shut up, Ral. Oh, man. I mean, guys, I was able to get the combo off like twice in the practice matches, but those were both against mid-range decks. So I hadn't faced control in the practice matches, so I'm not entirely sure how that deck does against control, but the heavy red-white prison version does decently. So if you're able to like sequence your plays correctly, you should be okay, honestly. But it is really just the mono red aggro that's kind of a dead matchup. Potentially it's just not doable at all, and you can just see those as immediate forfeit, and you can skew your main deck to be a little bit more like control focused, so that, or like against control, so that you don't have to give all these slots to, you know, the early removal and things like that. Give a lot more slots to good card selection, good card draw, maybe some really important answers against things that control is doing right now. and just say, you know, I'm facing mono red, goodbye. Like, just instant concede. Of course, you could also just play traditional, like the best of 3 format, and you could have access to a sideboard that essentially, I think that your main deck game against mid-range is good, so you don't really have to devote too many slots to mid-range matchups, but you can skew it to have like 8 aggro-based cards, 7 control-based cards, and just chuck stuff in those matchups. I think this can be a reasonable deck, but it will definitely be hard to make it super reasonable. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Oh, right, it's Rexul. I would like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander and Dorega, for their continued support on the channel. If you'd like to join them supporting the channel, you find links to that down in the description below, as well as links to my Discord server and my Aetherb account. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, especially since we were able to get the combo off on the first video, on the first run through. Yeah, if you did, go and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, and cast a comment to the comment section down below. And until next time, all will be one.